From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you into this Thursday's edition of For the People on the September the 14th, 2017. I have my Vicks NyQuil, or is it DayQuil, and a cup of coffee. Apparently, Irma gave me a cold. Got the sniffles. My daughter first had it, so I have to blame it on my 14-year-old daughter, of course, Kaylee. And she's actually been enjoying some time off all this week. She doesn't have school until the 18th, but the only bad thing about that, with her being off from school, is they're going to have to make up days. So how that's going to happen should be interesting. Probably holidays cut short, but they're not going to just give them the time off. So anyway, bear with me today. I don't think I sound any differently, do I? No, not at all. Just a few sniffles. So if you hear me sniffle, you know what that is. Just trying to feel a little bit better. You know how that goes. This, I guess, maybe is my cold of the year. I really don't get too many of them. And I lucked out this year on allergies. I don't know what it is. I've been getting allergies for the last 8 to 10 years. And this year, they just really did not affect me. And I don't think anything's changed. But they say your body goes through changes every so many years, so maybe that's it. So knock on wood. Hopefully next year, same repeat on that. Did you hear about the ESPN anchor? He's having this Twitter tirade, and the White House hitting back. Jameel Hill, she's an anchor for ESPN. She's been back and forth, calling Donald Trump, of all things, you've never heard this before, a white supremacist. You've never heard people calling Donald Trump that, have you? Well, it's a series of tweets, and the White House firing back. The White House said ESPN anchor Jameel Hill committed a fireball offense after she called Republican President Donald Trump a white supremacist. That is one of the more outrageous comments that anybody could make, and certainly is something that is a fireball offense by ESPN, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said Wednesday. A lot of people that are siding with this anchor, of course, deciding to say, how dare they use the people's microphone or the press conference to ask for a firing of a private citizen. You may not be serving, by the way, in the White House, but you're serving the American people if you're on national television. It's a national platform. And to be able to use your platform, and by the way, the last time I checked, I thought that ESPN stood for sports. I thought it was a sports network. Why has it become political? Well, just like Colin Kaepernick having to make the football field a political grandstand, it's got to be something like that. Everybody seems like they have to weigh in on this discontentment of who the president is. I got to tell you, I bit my tongue for 8 years under Barack Hussein Obama. I wasn't a big fan of his politics. And some of the things that he said and some things that he did, believe me, highly questionable. But to sit here and call him a white supremacist, why don't we just call Obama a racist? I mean, that would have fit, maybe. No? Oh, if you were critical of Obama, oh my God, their Messiah. It's just a double standard. It really is, folks. This is just ridiculous. Okay, so some of the comments, Jameel Hill, she just went off. Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has largely surrounded himself with other white supremacists. Another one. Trump is the most ignorant, offensive president of my lifetime. His rise is a direct result of white supremacy, period. Here's another statement. He is unqualified and unfit to be president. He is not a leader, and if he were not white, he never would have been elected. Huh. Really? So what happened to Barack Obama and the white people that voted for Barack Obama? Here's another one. Donald Trump is a bigot. Glad you could live with voting for him. I couldn't because I cared more than just myself. Okay. And, somebody else, Joy Reid. Today, the White House press secretary used the People's Podium to call for firing of an individual citizen. Take that in. Honey, we're taking it in. And we're taking it in. We're drinking it in. There was a salacious statements that were made. This is not something that the White House nor anybody, if you call somebody a bigot, a racist, a white supremacist, to take lightly. If you call somebody a Nazi, you call somebody a racist or anything like that, you don't take it lightly. These are just so liberally just handed out like candy. I mean, before long, it's just not going to mean anything anymore. I mean, seriously, because it's like on a daily basis, people are calling people all of this, and they really don't even know what the meaning is. It's all lumped up in just every single thing. He's all things. He's everything that they said and more. He's a racist. He's a bigot. He's a homophobe. He's an Islamophobe. I mean, should we continue down this KKK? I mean, whatever these stereotypes are of white people, stereotypical white people, white supremacists. So if you're white, I guess, more or less, if you're white, then you must be all of these things. I mean, this is highly offensive, highly offensive. And for anybody that watches ESPN should be calling for the firing of this anchor, Jameel Hill. Jameel Hill is not, the network's really not doing anything. The network hasn't gone that far. Now, though saying that in a statement that it only addressed Hill, a string of Monday's tweets with her that she recognizes her actions were inappropriate and that her comments do not represent the position of ESPN, the sports network noted. But other than that, it's a free-for-all. Now, if we said these things, these statements about Barack Hussein Obama, believe me, that anchor would have been fired so fast it wouldn't be funny. And you know it, and they know it. White supremacists. Unbelievable. The snowflakes are not saying anything. Nobody's calling for the firing of CBS, NBC, ABC, MSNBC. The other networks there, none other are calling for the resignation, being slapped or whatever, reprimanded. Rush Limbaugh says something offbeat several years ago about some football players on a field, and he gets fired from ESPN. But this black ESPN anchor can call Donald Trump a white supremacist in Twitter tirade and use her platform. Call him a bigot, a racist. He's unqualified. All these things. Who are you? A sports commentator talking about sports, and now you're a political commentator? Shut up. Shut up. Give me a break. That's why a lot of people are really just turned off from that network. and by sports in general these days, because nobody's doing anything about it. And it's just like the deplorable statement that anybody that voted for him, then we all are just into that. It's highly offensive. It's beyond offensive. It's very angering that these people are able to continue in this fashion. She needs to be made an example, and there needs to be folks that are outraged and need to write ESPN. And I know some of you have time on your hands. Some of you are very good writers. Send an email to the company about anchor Jemele Hill, Jemele Hill. She's a ESPN news anchor. And let them know how offended you are, how upset you are, and how this needs to be dealt with swiftly. Don Imus, for his offbeat things, he was fired. He was made an example. There's no difference. I don't see any difference between Rush Limbaugh, Don Imus, any of these. I mean, for what she said, but she's black. She's black, and she can get away with it? A white supremacist. Wow, we could start calling black people racist. It's just ridiculous. And here's the thing, folks. We don't need this in our country. This is what rips us apart. We don't need this race baiting to go on and to continue. There is racism in this country, and it's not right. But Donald Trump is not a racist. He's not a white supremacist. There were people in Obama's administration that were highly offensive and that did not always have the views or opinions of the president. The president doesn't agree with all the people that are in his cabinet on every single philosophical issue, life issue, religion issue, sexual preference, etc., etc. People are free sometimes to believe the things they want to believe, but to have somebody that is a known affiliation with white supremacy and KKK and marches and giving money and showing up at rallies, I just don't see that there. And if there was, this would be on the front page of the New York Times. Videos coming out. I mean, they make it sound like Donald Trump has got the KKK cap on there, and he's going around the campfire there, getting ready to lynch. I mean, this is just ridiculous. And anybody that's known Donald Trump for any length of time, besides hiring minorities, a lot of them in his properties, and paying them extremely well. And I've made note of this on several of my broadcasts leading Donald Trump into the White House, because I knew people that worked for the Trump organization over the years in New York City and in different properties across the world, and have never complained. It's a great organization to work for. You take care of them, they take care of you. Imagine that. Donald Trump is such the guy that talks to the doorman, talks to the janitor at his home there in New York. He talks to the janitor. That's the kind of person that he is. Yeah, he's a billionaire, but can talk to a janitor. If people would try to get to know him and find out what the heart of Donald Trump really is, who he is, and I tell you what, you gotta look at his kids. None of those kids are on crack. They don't even drink coffee. They don't even drink alcohol. See, nobody praises them for that. And all of them are super educated. They look terrific. They're all successful in their own right. That is the American dream. If you want to look for a role model, look at Trump's kids. Trump wasn't perfect, but despite all of that, look at his kids.